first, don't be in denial. There are specialists out there. There's information out there. You just need to access to it. And then from there, you will learn by yourself to see whether your child is having those signals or those symptoms or not first, before you actually go for the diagnosis.
Hello, Nyambung people. Back to Nyambung, back to trying to click and connect. We are going to connect. You connect with the individuals who have advocated for the rights of person with autism. Again, I have two guests, this time from Indonesia and Malaysia. Hopefully next time I can also connect with my friends from other parts of ASEAN. But trust me, these two individuals are interesting to listen to. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share to all your friends and families, and make sure we can be more inclusive society by listening and studying something from them. Okay, so I have Cason Ong, based in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. Hi, Kevin. Good to see you again. No, Kevin is your son. I looked at you and then, no, that's not Kevin. Kevin is his son. Huh?
Yeah.
Cason is the father.
Okay.
So you're family with C.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk more about that and also about your son. And my second guest is Taufik Hidayat. Pak Taufik, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, in this part, the two of you, let's discuss about autism and how to deal with them. Tell me your experience. What makes you care and advocate this issue of autism? Cason?
Oh, I go first. Okay. All right. Well, I think my story is actually much longer. I have two children. My daughter is also special needs. My first one, my daughter is 24 years old. 1 year difference only between my son and my daughter. My daughter is diagnosed as a global development delay. You know, nowadays the titles are all very bombastic, you know, the words, but actually to let the public know the easier word will be called mild spastic.
Mild spastic.
They actually call it cerebral palsy now. They don't call it spastic anymore. So my daughter is actually that. When she was born, she was a lack of oxygen to the brain. So she's already 24 now, but her size and her growth is actually like probably like a 10-year-old. All right.
Yeah.
And then my son came along after a year, and he was okay when he was born, so we are not worried about him. Concentrate on my daughter more. But suddenly, the next thing I know that, oops, he's not speaking. And then slowly we see that he's a bit hyperactive, and then that's when we send him for diagnosis that he's autism, but with the Asperger's spectrum.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cason, for that. How about you, Pak Taufik?
It started with one of my family members. Mr. Cason is his son. Me is my family members, my brothers, has autism. And at that time, I'm the one who have a responsibility to teach him. So how to manage to survive in school. It's a very struggling time at that time.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But with that, it encouraged me more to learn, because I have a clinical experience as the one who has actually my base knowledge is occupational therapy. So I learned my clinical background because I have a little brother that has autism.
Right.
So
you have a background as pediatric occupational therapist.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's like just adding more layers to your skill, right?
Yes.
Yes.
this is today we have a good interesting story. If you want to listen to it. Yesterday, one of the staff of Ministry of Social Affairs text me. They have trouble to deal with one of the new member of their institution that has autism.
Okay.
Oh, I'm rushed to go there when I know she's it's a she. She's a she. She has no parents because the one who raised her is her grandmother, but her grandma just passed away. So we have a very interesting and then communication with the person with autism and then the staff in Ministry of Social Affairs. How we gonna help Shifa, the name the person with autism, because of my clinical backgrounds, I can do quite a lot to help.
Well, it's important that we understand autism, but because at least in the context of Indonesia, we have a law. This is important for all employers around Indonesia to understand about this law number 8, 2016, that basically requires all employer, if they are state-owned enterprise, they must recruit at least 2% of their staff from the person with disability groups. And if they are private enterprises, 1% at least. So we want to be a nation that's more and more inclusive. Do you have something like that in Malaysia as well?
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
Same percentage, but unfortunately, in the private sector, it's not so encouraging. But we do have that certain percentage in the government sector. All right, but at least is it the government sector? The government must show the way ahead. You know, not the other way around where the private sector is trying to show the government. The government advocates this, so they have to show that they are also accepting, people with disabilities into the workforce.
Yeah.
Right. That is the first step. And at the same time, like what Taufik was saying about his clinical background, I think we are all, how should I say, we are all parents of our children. I think we are also very good psychologists already. We don't need to qualify. If we go around in public and even go to kindergartens and all that, I think straight away Taufik and I can just pick up some of these children which is have a slight or mild traits of autism. Which I have mentioned to a lot of people. Whether they accept it or not, I said, okay, it's not my place whether you accept, but I'm just telling you there's something wrong. Please go and get it diagnosed. Okay.
It becomes sensitive, yeah. You become sensitive to it, yeah.
It becomes sensitive. You say, who are you? Are you a doctor? I say, I don't need to be a doctor. I have 2 children with special needs.
You have a
so I think I hope more than qualified.
yeah, because we do that also because when we are in a public space, we see something. That child looks familiar. Oh, okay. It may be a person with autism, and it's correct. We're just saying it slightly.
Yeah. I have friends as well. When they have one child and I noticed that the child is this, I told him straight away. I hope I am wrong. First sentence I said, I hope I'm wrong, and your child is perfect. But I see there's something very minor that is not right. Minor, little bit. It's not serious. If you can get that done, your child will be fantastic. And actually, they eventually went to do the diagnosis, and now the child is fantastic. He can speak 5 languages. For a child who has no speech, he can speak 5 languages. He started calling me uncle, which he has never opened his mouth, and he greets me in 5 languages. I say, excuse me, I only understand English. The rest are German, French. I don't know why he's talking. So I said, you see. So I said, there you go. You just have to just make a small sacrifice and check him out. That's all. I'm not asking you to go for surgery or anything like that. No need. Just go for the diagnosis. I'm so happy for him now. Every time I see the child.
In my previous, in the episode of Nyambung, the previous ones where I was also with Taufik, we brought together two person with autism.
Right.
And the comments I get based on that episode, people have doubts that their children can be like them. It's like, oh, you're so lucky. You're just dealing with a person with autism. That's already easy to deal with. So I need to have you answer that kind of question. How do you start? What's the best way to make sure that they can be dealable?
Well, actually, they can be very adorable. Because why? They are in their own world, right? I am sure Taufik will agree with me. They are in their own world. We just have to be a part of their world instead of always advocating them to be part of our normal world. I don't know. If we just have to just be a little bit towards their world, then we will know how they think, how they function. That will be the best. If somebody today, if a genie come in front of me, ask me what are my wishes, I say I only want one wish. I want to know what the autism person is thinking. I only have one wish. That will be the one. Because they are in their totally different world, but in their world is very calm. They are not like us. We are getting stressed. We are being anxious all the time. Anxiety and all that. But when you look at them, they are totally happy. They are happy all the time. Unless when they throw tantrums. But I'm not saying they're perfect. But but when they're happy, and they don't show biasness or prejudice against anybody. You ask them to give you 100 ringgit, they will give you 100 ringgit. They won't look at you as I don't know you, you don't know me. They won't think anything else. They think every human being is a good person.
Cannot lie.
So that is
Cannot lie.
That is the positive part about them. So people will cheat them, but they will never cheat anybody.
But Taufik, so when you say go into their world instead of pushing them into our world, what is the easiest way to do so? I mean, first step probably to do so.
First step to do so is to know them. Because sometimes we are thinking about them as our thinking. That need to be reframing.
Yeah.
Because if we are pushing a person with autism the way we are usually do with ourselves, there will be no things that will be aligned. But if we are trying to know them, there will be there's a lot of things that you can go together with them. That's the main topic about that.
I'm sure there are clinical ways of do things, but if in very simple ways, if they don't talk to us, and probably some of us are frustrated because of that, they don't want to talk to you and they don't look to you when you talk to them, what would you suggest can be done, especially in the workplace? If they're adults and they do that to you, what do you do?
The most important thing to be reframed is not all of the communication have to be done by talking, by conversations. There's more ways to do that, like visual. Usually, a person with autism has a good visual ability, so we can use that as a communication tool.
Okay.
And then the gesture, and then we can read their gestures, and they can read our gestures.
I see. That's a good tips. Cason, you have other tips?
Yeah, actually, basically, the speech is actually a problem for most of them. No doubt the high functioning ones can read and write, like my son, but speech is still an issue because they cannot speak in sentences, long sentences, only short sentences. All right. So from there, we have to pick up, get them to speak more, and then from there, hopefully they can improve. You see, now at least my son can ask me back a question when I say something to him. Or else he can ask me why or something like that. Last time I say you just follow. So we must have the two communication the dialogue. You know, that's how they improve. All right. You see, for them, my son is part of the autism choir in Malaysia. We have Nasom is the first autism choir in Malaysia. All right. You see, when they perform, they perform in front of the president, in front of the prime minister, in front of our king, and they have no issue. But the teacher bringing them is already sweating, you know, so worried about them and things like that. But they are all very cool when they go on stage. They just sing, they bow, and then they come down the stage. That's all. Their job is finished. But from before they go on stage, the teachers and the preparation all will be going crazy. Oh, yo, please make sure you sing well. And, yeah, bye. But for them, it's simple. I just go up, I just do my job, I come down, finish.
Sometimes become the one worrying too much, yeah?
Yeah, so they're just showing you, just need to chill, brother.
Chill.
You need to chill. You are too stressed out.
Santai, yeah?
Cool only. Even when they perform in front of the TV, you know, even when I get interviewed on TV, I still get butterflies. All right, scared, afraid of saying the wrong thing. But when they interview, okay, they're cool only. What they answer, what you ask them, they just answer. Yeah.
So you say both of you have that sensitivity to spot someone with this special needs. Maybe share us some few tips. You know, what are the usual signs that someone actually need attention because they have autism?
The common ones, I'm sure Taufik will agree with me, are when they're hyperactive. You know, they are running all over the place uncontrolled. That's number one. Number two, when you call them, some of them do not have the eye contact. This is the second part, you know. And the third part is, you know, some of them will, when you play together, this boy or girl will probably sit in the corner there and play by himself. That is one of the traits. You know, I can tell you that when I was small, I also had that trait. So it's actually in all of us. You know, the autism spectrum is actually very wide. If you are a perfectionist, you already are partly autistic already, I can tell you now. You know, if you are very perfectionist, if you go to the kitchen, it has to be spot clean. I cannot go in the kitchen which is
That's
dirty.
right.
And that is a trait really of an autistic person.
Or things in very, very order, yeah, certain order.
Yes. I'm a little bit like that.
You have it in you too.
It's actually in everybody. I can tell you, if you have been like with us so long, we can see that it's actually in everybody. There is a little bit, you know, a small percentage. Taufik will agree. I'll let him share the experience.
Okay, enlighten me more, Taufik.
Usually, while we are doing a communication with our child or something like our children, usually we have a good eye contact. We have a good we call it share attention. While we are in public space, that's what I'm first to seek about it. If the family when they brought a child with it, how they communicate. Can they do the share attention communication, something like that? That's the way. And then the second thing is there any specific issues of what call it repetitive activity? Usually they're hopping and then or they're something like we call it repetitive activity.
Yeah.
That's the most
obvious
thing that I look to see.
Yeah.
Things like that.
I see. So head movements or hands movements or body movements. Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes you even hear them shouting. You know they are talking very loud out of a normal.
Suddenly they shout.
Yes. Yeah.
I see. Okay. So I think as a conclusion, what would you say to families with person with autism, given your activities, your advocacy. We all have been trying to make sure that person with autism is part of inclusive society. But sometimes we also need to come back to the families. They too can help, right? What can you say to them?
Okay, first thing I would say that you are very lucky you are in this century where there's internet and all that, you can access information freely. You know, those days when we have ABA, they come in the form of a manual, and that only can come from the US, and it costs 20,000 ringgit. Okay, that is just a hard copy. And how many people can afford it? You know, now you can all share on the internet. So for parents now, I will always say that first, don't be in denial. There are specialists out there. There's information out there. You just need to access to it. And then from there, you will learn by yourself to see whether your child is having those signals or those symptoms or not first, before you actually go for the diagnosis. All right? Unless you totally say, no, he's like that all the time, he run around, you know, the border, you know. I'm very sad to say that some parents actually behave like that. All right? I cannot say for myself because I have two special needs child, but some other families, they have normal children. So when they have one child who is hyperactive and so on, you say this nothing lah, yeah, it's normal, you know, then they put one side. But when the thing is too late, that's where the problem starts. So that's why now, even in NASOM, our Autism Society, we are trying to diagnose children as early as 2 years old, so that we can give them the early intervention as young as possible, so that he or she can go to school when they are 7 years old. This is the preparation that we are doing now, and in the sense we are quite successful, but the only setback now is our education segment, that we need to push them a little bit more and enhance the system. All right, you know, but to the people out there, it's not end of the world for a child with autism. They can be very talented. Okay, you just have to find out what they are good at, you know, enhance those positive signs, you know, the negative signs, you try to, you know, try to help him as much as possible, and there you go. So always be positive.
Right.
Right, Taufik?
I'm totally agree with you. Always be positive.
Yeah.
Because mostly of the newbie parents person with autism has a intense stress. Because if that's so, it will be mirroring to their child, and they will be completely ruin the house. Not because of the child, but because of the whole of the family members. The first thing I want to ask all of the parents as a message is try to yeah, like Mr. Cason say, we are very lucky in this era. There's internet, there's things that you can access. Try not to depend on others, because you are the one who deal mostly dealing with them. Because if you are doing so, how much money you can have? Because the things that cross in what I have done this, not all of the family of person with autism has a quite good economic background.
Correct. Yeah.
If that's so, they have to struggle to gain money, and also they have to struggle to gain access for their beloved ones that have autism. If that's so, there are so many problems. But if they can manage how to nurture their beloved ones, I think there will be, that's the solutions. How do we make parents literate more how to deal with person with autism at home? Because that's the key point issue also at home. Making the house as a good environment for their improvement.
Yeah. Okay. That's very very encouraging. Yeah. So I hope Nyambung people, this month, the awareness of autism month, I hope you've learned something more. It encouraged you to be inclusive, to welcome person with autism in our world. All children, I truly believe, all children, when they are facilitated well, they can be independent and they will be helpful and love you back. So one thing that we should always strive to learn is how you do that. We all have the responsibility to make sure that every human being born is cared and loved. Thank you very much, Taufik and Cason, for your time, for for your sharing. Don't forget to visit their website, ask them questions, write me questions as well if you wish for autism to be discussed further or disability in ASEAN to be discussed further. Feel free, drop me notes. Thank you so much and see you soon, Taufik and
Yes,
Cason.
thank you.
Thank you, Dinna.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Jangan lupa like podcast ini kalau kalian menikmati diskusinya, komen apabila kalian punya pertanyaan atau pendapat, dan subscribe agar kalian tidak ketinggalan episode nyambung setiap minggunya.